Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're going to be playing Arrows in the Window. Now, this is a particular puzzle I actually wanted to feature, I'm going to say like over a month ago, potentially 2 months ago, because it was actually, no, so 6 weeks ago. So it was published by Sir Moose back on the 25th of August, and it caught my attention, and I was always intending to solve it, but I kind of always just put it to one side. I think I've mentioned this in the past that I have a ton of tabs open, and then I just end up featuring them as I get onto them. But essentially right now I've got something like 15 tabs open of highly rated puzzles that I want to play. I just haven't had the chance to do so. Now, I did make a promise that because we enjoyed yesterday's Windoku from Gobbler so much, that I am going to feature a second one. Bit risky doing them back to back on the same weekend, but I think it's, I think Sir Moose, 94% rating, we really should be in for an excellent time ahead. Now, small reference you can see there on the thumbnail, arrows, windows, kind of speaks for itself. Really no need to say much more other than just take a look at what we have in store for today. Now, one thing that I admit I'm sort of approaching with a little bit of fear is, first off, I'm not particularly familiar with this variant. Secondly, I've actually solved this before. I'm so sorry, I'm just going to double check, because it looks like it's something that I have solved before. No, it's a very similar looking puzzle from Sir Moose that was actually back in July called Remban Arrows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a card in here because it looks incredibly similar, and leave a link in the description down below for you guys to check it out if you haven't actually played this particular puzzle. But this is not one we've solved before, so that part I'm confident of. Anyhow, the reason I'm sort of approaching this with a bit of hesitation is it is actually quite late here for me and my recording, which is not a great idea I tend to find. As the day goes on, my intelligence definitely seems to wane off. So fingers crossed I actually know what I'm going to be doing today. Anyhow, enough of this. Let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule sets with Arrows in the Window by Sir Moose. And really, not a lot of rule variants today. Two to mention. First off, obviously, normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Then we have digits cannot repeat in cages, and you can see very clearly that this is a reference to Windoku because the cages are very explicitly in a certain location. The way to think about this is that these 9 cells, each of these 9 cells is the digits 1 to 9 once each. I do go through some of the associated tips and tricks for this in yesterday's puzzle. I'll leave again a link up there. Go check that out now. And I may end up just taking a quick kind of explanation through it. Right, and then the other rule is arrow sums. So digits along an arrow sum to the digit in the arrow circle. So essentially, these 3 cells, whatever they may be, let's say it's 1, 2, and 3. Obviously don't have to be in order. I can have them in any order. Nothing specific about that. They add up to 6. That has to go in the associated circle for that arrow. Whatever this cell is, it's the sum of these 3 cells, etc., etc. So that's all the rules we have for today. As always, if you want to play along, link will be in the description down below for you to do so. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. Now, I'm absolutely confident we're going to need this. So I am going to start by very briefly explaining some tips and tricks for Windoku. And actually I saw from some of the comments a more elegant explanation than the rambling one that I gave, but to be fair, I was trying to figure it out. So essentially, think about the rows 2, 3, and 4. So row 2, row 3, row 4. They are composed of the digits 1 to 9 once each. There's 3 rows. There's 3 lots of the digits 1 to 9. You take away these cages that are clearly their own 1 to 9. So I've taken out 1, so now I'm left with 2 lots of the digits 1 to 9. Now I'm left with 1 lot of the digits 1 to 9 because I removed 2 of them. So essentially, these cells have to be composed of the digits 1 to 9. So I am going to, and you can repeat this in the row, you can repeat these in the columns, and essentially the way to think about these whenever you're approaching these puzzles is that there is one set of digits 1 to 9, there's a second set of the digits 1 to 9, and you can do that, as I said, in the columns. So that's yellow, that's red, and then you're going to notice that we're left with a set of digits that are not colored, these white ones. I'm actually deliberately going to color them white for a second so I can actually just highlight them quickly. But essentially these cells have no color. But if you actually think about it, we've actually got 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9, a 5th set, a 6th, a 7th, and an 8th. And of course, because of Sudoku rules, there are 9 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Essentially, one for every row and column and box. So essentially, the white cells that are not colored in here are also the digits of the sets 1 to 9. And actually, that gives me the first digit immediately. So that was actually quite a helpful, that was a very helpful diversion, actually. Where can the digit 1 go? And in fact, for that matter, the digit 2. Now, 1 and 2, 1 cannot be inside any of these arrow circles because in essence what it's saying is that these 3 cells are adding up to 1. These 2 cells are adding up to 1. These 3 cells are adding up to 1. 2 cells, and they're unique obviously because they're in the same box. 2 cells, they're in the same row. 3 cells, 3 cells because they're in the kind of one of those shaded areas. And you can see immediately just how much of a struggle this is to actually place the digits 1 or 2 for that matter. These cells have to be 1, 2. For a second, by the way, I didn't notice that, so I thought I was actually going to place a 1 in here, but these 2 are 1 and 2. Now, I still need to place the digit, like if I think about it for a second, there are still a handful of digits that are actually quite awkward to place. 3, 4 are actually quite awkward. They have to have a 1 on them. And they can't be made up of a sum that's got 3 digits. So this is not it, this is not it, this is not it. These all have to be at least 6, 7, 8, or 9. In fact, so is this cell actually, because it's got 3 cells that are unique that add up to whatever this digit is. So these are all 6, 7, 8, and 9. That means that all of the remaining white cells, this slot, has to be 3, 4, 5, because we basically covered all the other digits 1 to 9. Now, the 3 and 4 are interesting because they have to have a 1, so it's either a 1, 2 or a 1, 3. And I'm just trying to think around the implications of this for a second. So one of these, 2 of these I should say, have the digits 1. Can I actually determine this at this point? Or do I need to make a bit more progress to actually think about this? Interestingly, with the 1 and 2 here, I can't have both 1 and 2. I can only have one of them. So the absolute minimum I can get to is 1, 3, 4. If I essentially exclude the 2, but have the rest. So this can't be 6 or 7. This is 8 or 9. Do I have any more? Yeah, this one. This is not 6 or 7, so that's an 8-9 pair. These can't be 6 or 7. Oh, sorry, I meant to say the other one. These can't be 8 or 9. Now, the fact that they have 6 or 7 means that they both have to have 1 and 2 on them, and then the optional digit is the 3 or 4. So essentially, these are 1, 2, 3, 4. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 being the definite digits. And notice now how many I've actually got. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 5 cells. So one of these 2 is definitely a 5. Therefore, that is not a 5. This is one of the 3 or 4. So this is definitely including a 1. And this is 1, 2, or 3. Oh, this is a beautiful puzzle, Sir Moose. Very much leaning into how you're meant to think about Windokus. Can I figure this out? Let's think about it. So essentially, one of these is 3 or 4, and then the other 3 or 4 is in here. But how do I know which is the question. So let's think about implications if this is 3 or 4. So if this is 3, that would be 1, 2, and then I've broken it. Because essentially, no 1, 2 in here, 3, 4 in there, and this is 3. Broken. So, and I think that would be true even if it's 1, 3. Let me just think about that. I can hide the 1 in here. Yeah, no, because it's 2, 4, and 4. So yeah, I can't do that. So that cannot be 1, 2, nor can it be 1, 3. This has to be the 5. Therefore, that's not the 5. This is the 3, 4. Now remember, one of these cells has to be a 1, and it's not this cell. So that's the 1. This is now 2 or 3, and we've got a triple of 1, 2, 3, depending on whether this is 3 or 4. This is a beautiful puzzle. Right. What is the 5? Now I'm kind of wondering, so one of them is, so the options are 2, 3 or 1, 4. Let's just think about the implications of both for a second. So it's easier to do this. So if this is 2, 3, that ends up being 1, 4. That ends up being a 3. And that ends up being a 2, which doesn't work. So that can't be 2, 3. That has to be 1, 4. And therefore, this is 2, 3, presumably. That works. This is not 2, 3. That's 1 or 4. It's got to be a 1 because I remember there had to be a 1 in here. So that has to be 1. That has to be 6. That has to be 7. That means this is 1, 2, 4 in here. And you've got a 3 looking at this. That's got to be a 4. That's got to be a 3. That's 1, 2. That's got to be a 3. Stunning puzzle so far. Okay. What else am I doing now? I'm kind of half tempted to think about the 8, 9s again. So remember, one of them, it's so obvious now that I pointed out, one of them is an 8. And if I don't include a 1 in there, 2, 3, 4 would be the minimum, which would be a 9. And I can't make both of them 9 because they have to be different. So because one of them is an 8, it will include a 1, and therefore that can't be 1. That's always been 2, that's always been 1, if I thought about it for 5 seconds. Now, whichever one is, so the 2 is there in all of them, as in it can see all of these options. So to get to 9, I always had 3 options. One option was 1, 2, 6, no longer available. One option was 2, 3, 4, no longer available for both sides. So essentially, one of them is 1, 3, 5, and one of them is 1, 3, 4. And clearly the one with the 5 on it, that's the 1, 3, 4. That's the 8. That's not a 4, if I can type. That's the 9. 1, 2, and 3 are all pointing at this cell, so that's a 5. That's 1, 3. These are all known digits now. They are 6, 7, 9. I may as well just fill them in. I don't know if I should have filled them in, actually. These tend to just distract me until they serve a purpose. We haven't really thought about other colors, but I mean, we should, because we're basically done with the white cells. That's all of the digits 1 to 9, once each placed. So yeah, I should move on and think about what all of these digits are. Let's use green as an example. We know they're the digits 1 to 9, once each. We know what these are. They are the remainder of that column, which is 4, 6, and 8. And I've got 1, 2, 3 in here. So these have to be 5, 7, 9. This is a single arrow cell. This would be 5, 7, 9 again. 8, 1, and 9. So this can still be 8. That can't be 4, surely, because even if it is 4, the minimum here would be 6. That would be 10, so that can't be 4. I can make basically anything else work at this point. 5, 7, 9 here, not very interesting. Is it not very interesting? It is very interesting. No, it's not very interesting. Sorry, for a second I was thinking, I thought it was doing that, and then I was thinking, well, it's got to be in the bottom row, but it isn't. So this cell is none of these. It's clearly not 2, 1, 3, or 4, 5, 7, 9. So it's got to be one of these cells. In fact, it's got to be one of these two. And it also means it's got to be one of these two down here. Or actually, sorry, one of these three. That wasn't very helpful at all. That wasn't helpful, like, at all. Okay. How about we move on and actually use the rest of the colors for a second. So we know what this column is made up of. We need 2, 3, and 6, I'm going to say. So now we've got 1, 2, hang on, it can't include 3, excuse me, 4. So we've got now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7, 8, 9, which again, we already knew anyway. Not very helpful. We got 1, 3, 4 here. We should probably, we may as well think about reds and yellows. Let's see if we can actually figure this out. So the 7 has to be up here. The 9 has to be down there. The 6, because it can't be here, has to be up there. 1, 3, 4. 2 seemingly could be anywhere. 8 seemingly could be anywhere. 5 seemingly could be anywhere. So essentially we've got 2, 5, 8, and one of them is up here. Not as useful as I had hoped. Maybe we should just do a bit of Sudoku to tidy up. Or maybe I should be using these arrows a bit more. I should be using these arrows a bit more. The thing is, these two cells could be the same. These two cells are different. Yeah, not too sure all of a sudden. Not too sure all of a sudden at all. Let's think about the reds for a second. Let's see if I can actually place anything. So 1 is up here. 3 is not there. 3 is not there. 3 has to be here. 4 is not there. 4 is not here. 4 has to be there. 6 is already placed. 5 could be either. 7 is not here. How did I manage? Oh, 7 is down there. So 1, 2 is not known. 3, 4, 5 is not known. 6, 7, and 8 could be an either. That's not a 1. That's a minimum of 5. But I mean, we already got 1, 2, 4 in here. Maybe I should be focusing more on the lower digits to see what I need to place. Is that what I should be thinking? Actually, here is Sudoku to the rescue. 1 has to be up here. Can't be inside the box because I've already placed 1 and 2. That's a 1, that's a 3. There may be some more obvious things like that I've missed. I say obvious. This is not 1 or 2. This is a minimum of 3, 4. Interesting. So this is a minimum of 8 or 9 because it can't be 7. And it can't be bigger than 6, can it? Because 3 is the minimum. So 3, 4, 5, 6 in here. Still need to place 7, 8, and 9. Not too sure. Let's just think about other arrows, because I really haven't used them. So what am I missing? Another 4, 6, and then 2 of 7, 8, and 9. And I don't know what this cell is. I can't figure out which one of these it is. Interesting. I'm kind of now stumbling. It was going so smoothly earlier, and then suddenly I'm like really struggling. Bit of a shame because it was such an elegant solve up until now, and I feel like I'm not showing off the puzzle as well as I could at this point. Five's not here. 5 is one of these 4 cells. Not enough. These 2 cells, we know they're not here. One of these 3. Yeah, I'm suddenly really struggling. So the 1 has, oh, there you go. Right, so I've got to use Windoku a bit more. Windoku Sudoku. So where is 1 in this box? Is the answer. Well, it's not in here. It's not there because of these 2 1s. It's inside the box. Because I've got a 1, 2 pair, that's got to be the 1, that's got to be the 2. Now, carry on. No 1s, no 1s, Sudoku. Can't be inside this cage. It's got to be in here. Okay. No 1s. We need a 1 inside this cage, so that's got to be the 1. No 1, no 1, 1. 3, 4 pair here. We'll come back to that. That 1 gives me 4, gives me 1. And I think that's 9 1s done. And I should probably think about the 2s in the same way. Such as, where does 2 go in box 1? Well, I've already placed it inside this cage. It's got to be in here, which means this is 2, 6, 7. And I actually now know what the composition is of this thing. This is 5, 8, 9. That can't be 5. That gives me the composition of this now. It's got to be 2, 3, 4. And then this is now known. It includes, it's 5 and 8. Wow. Right. Let's keep going with this kind of interactions that I can't think of a better word than discovering, really. 2 in here gave me 4, then a 2. Not a 2. There has to be a 2. And no 2s there. What am I doing? Hang on. So 2 for this box is sorted. And for the box. So there has to be a 2 in box 8. Can't be here. None of these. That's a 2. That's 3. That's 2. This box is now done. That's not a 2. One of these 2 cells are. 3, 4 in here. To be fair, that could still be a 3, so not exactly solving something. Not a 3, that is a 2. That's a 3, 4 pair. They're different. Yeah, double 3 still works. So does double 4. Not double 4, but double 3 does. Anyway, let's just focus on 2s before I get sidetracked. That's a 2, just Sudoku. And I think it's very nearly 9 2s. Now it is 9 2s. Yeah. Sorry, what I'm going to do, essentially, Mrs. Sleuth came down for a midnight snack. Our youngest dog followed her, and she's now sitting by the stairs upset that she's not able to go back up on her own. So bear with me a second. It'll be like Yeah, I will hit the pause button here first. Right, sorry about that. Let's see if we can finish this. Threes are done here. So I need 3 in the gray section, which means 3 is in one of these 3 cells. Three can't be here. It's almost like there's a 3 X-wing between these. Interesting. And then there has to be a 3 in here, doesn't it? By the looks of things. In fact, 3, 4, 3, not 3 or 4, 5 or 6, which still adds up to the 8 or 9. Right. This arrow sum really should help us with this. So if that is not double 3 as such, so one option is of course 6 with that double 3 that we were discussing earlier. If it's a double 3 this way, that would be 4. That can't be 3. It wouldn't be 1, 2, 3, 4. It would have to be 5. So this is 3 or 5, and therefore this is 6 or 9. Which gives me a 6, 7, 9 triple. That has to be an 8. That can't be an 8. The fact that this is a 1 now, this is 4 or 6, this is 5 or 7, which gives me a 5, 7, 9 triple. That has to be a 6, which resolves the double 3. That's a 4. That's not a 3. These are 5, 7, 9 again. That's a 5, 7, 9 triple. And that's a 4, 6, 8 triple. Except these are not 4s. These are 6, 8s. That's the 4. Which makes this a 6. Which makes this a 7. Makes this an 8. That 7 removes 7s from here. And therefore removes a 7 from there with that arrow, which gives me a 5, 9 pair. That is a 7. That's not a 7. 7 is in fact no 6s, pardon me. That is a 6. Right, it's flowing again. 5, 7, 9s. These 3 cells are just known. I may as well finish the 3s. Then I have no 6 or 8 in here. Of course not, because they're both there. This is 5 and something else. 5 and 9. Right, this arrow I'm sure will help in a second, but we've basically done suddenly a lot of the puzzle. Let me just think about... So I'm pretty sure I've got all the 3s now. 9 3s? Yes. How are we doing with 4s? Not as well. Not as well at all. There's a 4 X-wing there that would basically conclude it. Yes. Have we done all the arrow sums? That's a good question. I think the answer to that is yes. So really we're now missing Sudoku / Windoku tricks. That's kind of what we're left with. Such as no 2, come on, sleuth, 4, 6 pair. That means there's 6, 7 and 5, 8 left. 6 gives me 7, gives me 6. It doesn't actually help me down here, does it? It essentially means there's another 5, 8, 9 with the 4. It's actually not a 5, it is 4, 8, 9. Which doesn't really help. I can't type. We need a 6. No 6s. One of these is a 6. Not helpful. Kind of helpful. Where is 6 in this Windoku? So essentially if there's a 6 for sure in here, because again, 6 is not there. 6 is not there because of the 4, 6 pair. So 6 is in one of these 2 cells. So none of these are 6. And then the 4, 6 pair means that's not a 6. That's not a 6. That's not a 6. That is a 6. Bit of a stretch there, but no 4s. No 4 is a 4. I somehow left out this 4. No 7. Hang on, this can still be a 7. In fact, in the column, what is it? 579? No resolution. That's not very helpful. So essentially I need an 8 in this somewhere. Yeah, this could be any of them. This is essentially 5, 8. No, it's just 8, 9. I will pencil mark that. It's not 7 or 5. No 6 seemingly anywhere except this cell. Is that correct? No 6 because of this. No 6 in any of these. Yeah, that looks correct. That's 6, that's 4, which gives me another 4. That's 8, 9. That 5, removed 5 from here. That's a 7, 8, 9 triple. 5 is in one of these two cells. That can't be a 5, that's got to be a 6, that's got to be a 9. No 5. This is 5, 8 or 9, not very helpful. No 9. So what am I missing in here? I need a 7. That's the 7. Then that 9 gave me a 5 had I paid attention, and the 6 gave me an 8. Okay, right, okay. There's just a bunch of Sudoku now that's just been missing, making it seem harder than it really was. That's 5. That's not 5 or 9, that's 8. Neither of these are 8. That's a 5, 9 pair. Seemingly unresolved. Gives me 5, 9 pair here. That's got to be a 7. That isn't a 7. That's another... Come on, sleuth. That's not 7. That's 5 or 9. 5, 8 pair. Hang on, that's not red. Ignore that. 5, 9, 5, 9, 5, 9. I'm sure it's Sudoku that I'm missing. That's 5. That's 9. That's 5. That's 9. That 9 gave me 7, 8, 9. 8 gave me 5 and 8, which will be, yes, helpful. 9, 5, come on, 5, 9, 7, 9, 7. And if I've not made any other mistakes, typos predominantly, I think that's an 8 for the finish. It's a beautiful puzzle once again, Sir Moose. Like 94% rating, I would say underrated. And not enough solves again. I almost like need to be going through my open tabs and finding these hidden gems where there's still nowhere near enough solves. It deserves far more attention. So hope that you guys rack up the solve count, please. And, you know, keep pushing Sir Moose to keep creating more such phenomenal puzzles. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle in the video, and I'll see you back for the next one. Bye-bye for now.